Very good morning to each and every one of you, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to FYI. For your information, it's June 27th. For your information, we hope that you guys are good. We hope that you guys are well. Wherever you're joining us from, we're going to ensure that we are shared to all these valid and credible places. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Folks, what a few days it has been. Politics in Guyana, there's never a dull moment. There is never, ever dull moment. We were waiting on the power to come back. I came back on a little standby power here. We just got back lights. Literally, as they came on, the lights came on. Good to have you folks back with us, and we're fired up at this end. It's Thursday, folks. We're fired up at this end, and we are ready to go. It's Thursday, and a good morning to each and every one of you. Did I see Brenda, Patricia, well, rather it's Bernadette, Patricia Miller, Bernadette Patricia Miller. I hate people calling my name wrong. I shouldn't say hate. I don't like it. You know, Bernadette, Sion Gonzalez. Good to see you there, Sion, and Diana, BB Sanduford is here with us as well. Good morning, Diana. Irvin Dawn Cook is here with us too. Good morning, Irvin Dawn. We trust that you guys are good and well. Yep. Good and well. How are you folks doing this morning? What are you guys having this morning for breakfast? Maybe breakfast gone already. Maybe it's lunch. I remember those days. You cook lunch early, you have breakfast early, and then you start digging in the lunch. By 9 o'clock, lunch finish. Good morning, let me go. Let me go. Good morning. Pretty Milicia, Erwin Dawn, Melanie Adams, Bushmaster. Grand rising to you too, Bushmaster. Marlon Thomas. Good to have Bernadette Vashti. Vashti said she had eggs and toast. My God. The things are champions. Pleasant good morning. Right back at you, Lachman Aziz. Lachman, thanks for the things. It's plural, eh? Thanks for the things, Lachman. Marlin says, we love you, Sharon. I love back to you too, Marlin. I love back to you. And hope you always know that. I love back to you. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Marlin says a happy and blessed Thursday. I love when folks wake up like that. Happy and blessed Thursday. Brian Lewis, we see you there. Good to see you, Brian. And all the other folks joining us. The first 15, folks. The first 15. We've been talking about these new judges that have been sworn in. The judiciary, the acting chancellor, the acting chief justice. They have been complaining, saying we're tired. But is anybody listening? Is anybody listening? We're tired. This PvP that we got here, you could complain from now till next year. It took a couple of years indeed. And now we have some judges, some new judges, folks, who are with us. Take a look and take a listen to that. I think we got Adam Harris helping us here. Some new judges. Congrats to them.
10 puny judges were sworn in today. Chief of Protocol Francis Abraham said that the appointments became effective on Tuesday. He said that these judges are independent.
Are required to exercise their functions independently of the control and direction of any other person or authority, and shall be free and independent from political, executive, and any other form of direction and control. And of course, all office holders are expected to be good behavior during their term of office and in the performance of their duties.
President Irfan swearing the judges, said that the occasion is historical. It's occurring in a world at a time of global positioning.
It is the largest ceremony to bring in a new batch of judges since our independence.
He pointed out that 8 of the judges who took the oath are women. Women now form the bulk of the judiciary.
The way you write and the way you rule is not only for the moment in time. It constitutes precedence. And if you do what you're called upon to do, with a great sense of responsibility, with critical thinking, with the full application of the law.
He said that there is a lot to being a judge.
Your character and your separation of personal feeling must also allow you to separate public sentiments sometimes from what you write. And you must be confident in your ruling that it withstand every aspect of scrutiny.
He said that the judges would see cases that wouldn't have been brought a decade or 2 decades ago.
In your role, you will see cases that would not have been brought 20 years ago or 30 years ago because of the development trajectory of the country. You'll have environmental cases, you will have cases in oil and gas, maritime cases, because of the changes and dynamism of the economy itself and the country and the changes that are taking place around the country itself, the financial architecture of the country.
He said that the great investment is being placed on the judiciary at this time.
The use of technology, the access to information, all of these things are key components of building out a judiciary that is efficient, highly functional, and one that is futuristic. Because the future of the judiciary is much different from what we can contemplate today.
Yep. Welcome back, folks. There you have it. Congrats to all of those judges coming in. I saw one taking a licking. I hope she keeps on taking. Some controversy there, some scandal there, but congrats to them. Overall, I know, and this is a major step when you start studying law. You know, a student at law, that's what we call when we sign up for your LLB. Student at law. Then you get an attorney at law. You finish off at one of those places, Trinidad, St. Augustine, you know. Attorney at law. Congrats to all of them. Congrats to all of them. You know. I didn't like the lecture a little bit by Ali there. I didn't like the lecture. Vashti, Naomi, Jacqueline, Bernadette Piggott, Pretty Milicia, Gillan Leacock, David Papin, Jennifer Argyle, Julie G, Margaret Nelson. Good to have you. Yeah. I'm going to finish up, Margaret. I take that as encouragement. Margaret, I need you XYZ place. Lorena Argyle, thank you for that contribution live. On YouTube, when we're live, people can give a contribution to our program. I don't know. Some people feel a little how that we ask for you guys to help fund what we do here. I have no qualms about that anymore. When I started out asking you guys, I had some qualms. I don't have those qualms anymore. Realizing we don't run on water, there's still a terrible need for a backup generator that we can just switch over automatically to. You know, a little shame for actually have helped me with that, but now Annette Cummins, Naomi Drucker, and all you other folks. Yeah. Naomi said, please say my whole name. Thank you. Naomi Drucker. Good morning, folks. Happy to have you all here. A lot of things happening internationally. Quite a few things happen internationally. You know, I know a lot of them boys watching this thing here. Ex-president of Honduras, Mr. Hernandez, trying to traffic drugs and arms and all kinds of stuff into the United States. Oh my God. His rap sheet reads like a trilogy. No doubt they're gonna make this into a case on Netflix, and make this into a movie rather, on Netflix or Apple TV or something like that. 4 to 5 years in prison. You know, I hope them boys watch well. Right? I could imagine Hernandez went to some cocktails with US officials there in Honduras, knocking glass with them, and he didn't know. Maya Angelou has a poem with a line in it. While we yet knew, we still knew nothing. I think it's the Pulse of Morning, is it? That's the title of that poem. While we yet knew, He still didn't know nothing. Could imagine him going about his daily life. He said, I got him here by. Look how I getting through. Look how I getting through. The good book said my foot almost slipped when I saw the prosperity of the ungodly. My foot almost slipped. And people look like they're prospering. They get big house in Pradoville. As one popular song, a political banner in the US. Rich men north of Richmond. the rich men in this country north of Ogle. Pradoville 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5. Rich men north of Ogle. Some of them think they get into big houses and so on. One day wake up with sanctions in your Bigfoot. Sanctions. Sanctions. We don't believe in violence, against political opponents or anybody else. Some people want some good licks on their foot bottom. Among the nonsense they're doing. Marx must show some good lashes on their foot bottom, but we don't believe in violence. Let me just underscore that. Good licks on the foot. 45 years. If you locked away for 45 years, when you come out, the world has changed. Time's over. Then you got to find your place. If you make it out. If you make it out. Tammy Gibbs, Naomi, Richmond North of Ogle. All they want is control. I told you all. American Ambassador Nicole Terrio. She's knocking glass with Ben. I saw her before the sanctions came down. Knocking glass with Ben. And Ben didn't know. He didn't know. He former PSC homegirl May. People who give big contracts to. The Mohammed. Sanctions coming down. If we're not the friends. I'm happy, folks. I have preserved and persevered in politics. And nobody got me strings. I got my own strings. People try to pull me into conversations with all kinds of people. I want it one way for y'all. Right? If he's not enemy publicly and then we knocking glasses. I want to keep one face. 45 years. 45 years in the Bigfoot. Regionally, folks, regionally, there's a lot of things happening. Give us a quick sec. Regionally, good folks. Trinidad, my lord. My lord. Trinidad. I figure, and I hope not, in the same breath, that Trinidadians never get accustomed to violence. And we never get accustomed to it either, for that matter. We never get accustomed to it. I hope so. Never get numb to it. Right? But violence always stands out and irks us when we see it happening. Because stuff happening in Trinidad. Folks, give me a quick second. If you see me, you can see a lot of stuff you shouldn't be seeing right now. If we should do a good program. Yeah. So Trinidad, good folks. Trinidad. A lot of stuff happening. Fame, beauty queen, Sadna, Gangu. Fame, beauty queen. Trinidad authorities telling us this morning that she may have been tracked down, stalked, and then killed near a hospital. Some of y'all got beauty like that. One queen was famed to be so beautiful. To look upon her, you'd be turned to stone. I think you all know the fable. To look upon her, you got the The other story in the fable, the story of Troy and the queen that caused the whole war there. Right? They said she had the face that launched 1,000 ships, went to war for her. You got a face like that? Man, wars will be fought over you. You see, women could be so beautiful. You know, one of the women I admire, bad. If you ever hear me wife and me break up, you know she, Ashwari Rai. That's my kryptonite right there. You know, it's another beautiful woman. Michael Douglas' wife. What's the lady's name? Catherine Zeta-Jones. Beautiful woman. The two of them. the two of them right there. Catherine Zeta-Jones. That's a beauty. Right? Selma Hayek. Beautiful woman. You know. Jada Pinkett Smith. I can see myself in a situationship right there. I can see myself in an entanglement. This young lady, beautiful. Sadhna Gangu, you know, participated in beauty pageants and so on. She was killed by a drive-by shooting in Trinidad and Tobago near the Princestown District Hospital facility. Her husband, Kevin Gangu, a couple of years ago in 2019, he died in a road accident. You know, she had expressed her grief on social media, saying that she'd had a difficult time coping with her husband's sudden death. Now she is gone down and drive-by shooting. I see Irvin Dunn say, I forget Naomi Drucker. Let me call the full name. I won't get the problems. The face that launched 1,000 ships. Yeah. Our thoughts and prayers with the Gangu family. You lost the husband 2019. You lost the wife now, 2024. You know, something that fascinates me in life is that we all got a date, you know. For my aunt the other day was June 5th. June was her name. Born on the 30th day of June, died on the 5th of June. All of us got a date. Sadhna didn't know her date was a day in June 2024 after she buried her husband in 2019. She didn't know. And all of us got to keep that date, you know. We can't run from it. We can't run from it. Lionel Simon says this is becoming a way of life there. Live your life to the fullest. Live your life in a good way. Cognizant of your neighbor, you know, but not overly concerned about what people think. Folks, if I worried about what people think, I'd never be out here with y'all. If I worried about what people think, I'd never be in politics. Right? I come from humble beginnings, didn't went to any big fancy school. But I had a mother who drilled down some things in you. Even if you didn't want it drilled down after you get a song beaten it, real down in you. You know, we talked now about child abuse and all these different things now. Right? A couple beatings keep me on the right path, I can tell you that. A couple beatings, Marilyn Thomas, a couple beatings kept me on the straight and narrow. Right? And I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying in my case, you know, may I turn to Jesus? Yeah, you ever get some bad licks and you say, Lord, save me. I was on my own Damascus Road. You know, my own, Lord, save me. Drill down. Yeah. Yeah. Folks, good to see all of you. Edward Broom says, say that again. Save me. The tea's a little slow in coming this morning, folks. Good morning to each and every one of you. Yvette Wolford, Darius Bagot. Some of y'all remember the beating that set you in Damascus Road. Yeah. Turn to Jesus right away. I said, Father, pour in the oil and the wine, the oil that restored my soul. I was bleeding and dying on the Jericho road when he poured in the oil and the wine. You all would never in 2 lifetimes have a show like this. Never in 2 lifetimes. You get a beating left you and Lord, Father, pour in the oil and the wine. If you don't come to my rescue, turn to Jesus right away. And I've been on the straight and narrow ever since. We got a lot of things happening in the 592, folks. You know, there's a tie that binds us in this country. Imagine Margaret telling some of Somerset, Manhattan, in her palatial dwellings, on she 40 acres with her mule, but she's still concerned what happens back home. Still concerned, tunes in every day. Thank you, Margaret. You know, we got Naomi Drucker. I think Beyonce sing a song about she. Naomi with a good body. Reposed in the diaspora, Region 11, but still concerned what happened back home. Yeah, still concerned that I was bleeding and dying on the Jericho road when he poured in the oil and the wine. I got a love for hymns and old songs like that. You know, it's not now since I'm a youth. I had my little hymn book, and so I like here to call it hymn aloud. Hymn 564. 564. Folks, a lot more of the hymns happening. We need some hymns in the 592. We need some hymns in the 592. Y'all see some of this stuff happening? So a road washed away in Region 10. We posted on our Facebook page yesterday. Right? Father, pour in your oil and your wine in Linden. Pour in your oil and your wine. Telling us roads and trails, Linden's and Cuthbert's Mission, Pukuri, washed away. It always seems to me like the rainy season catches this government by surprise. Like it comes out of nowhere. Catches them by surprise and they scrambling. Stephen Sparman, Coral Providence, the scrambling. You know. I always think about that. Every flood, you gotta wait long to get some relief. If any coming. See the people at Peters Hall, I was there the other day. People at Providence, flooded out 3-4 times in the last 2 years. Never see a government official. Much more hamper. You live in the flat, the ground floor somewhere in the city. It's troublesome. So our thoughts go out to all the folks at Pukuri, right? Some of y'all trying to be a distraction this morning, you know, right? I won't call the name of Naomi Druck and so on, but some of y'all trying to be a distraction this morning. So our thoughts and prayers, folks. When I saw, I think, newsroom, it was yesterday. I don't know if they were moving around with a boat in Linden, but I saw around the area of Republic Bank, underwater there, right? How come we don't see government run up there in any numbers? How come we don't see that? So thoughts and prayers of the folks at St. Cuthbert Mission, Pukuri, Linden, and Region 6 too, I see. Had some flooding too, right? They had some flooding as well. Region 6. And we always talk about the carnage on our roads and waterways. I'm personally fed, but I can tell you all this. You know what, this is talk about death every day. Death every day. Right? It's sad. It's sad. So, Klaus Griffith, 54-year-old security guard of Nelson Street, Macau. He was struck down by a motor car on this Mandela to Eccles Heroes Highway, dragged some 200 feet. That must be a horrific way to transition life. Right? That must be a horrific way. The driver of the car, 27-year-old Dexroy Fredericks, claimed that the cyclist was attempting to cross from the western drive lane to the eastern drive lane when he was flung into the air, landed on the car windscreen, and dragged about 200 feet, as I said. Our thoughts and prayers with his family. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family. Klaus Griffith, 54. I see Annette Cummins asked if the driver was impaired. Right? Margaret says, death is so creative. Rest in peace. Klaus Griffith didn't know. He had a rendezvous with destiny. On the 26th of June. He didn't know. And that's all we're doing, Every day we live, we're heading to that rendezvous. Each and every one of us. Right? Each and every one of us. When I go, I was here. I lived my life. Y'all have a happy time now. Drop mic. Drop mic. Our thoughts with Klaus Griffith's family, his friends and his loved ones. Yeah. He didn't know what he didn't know. I see the Ministry of Finance telling us concerning these sanctions that they will follow the guidance of the US in this legal assistance process. They've asked for any information the US has which will help them in their own investigations. But I don't know who lead they intend to follow. I do not know whose lead they intend to follow. But Paul Snow, as we run sanctions, quite recently said, these sanctions might be more in the matter than on the pistol, and it might even be related to events happening in the Middle East. Yeah. Former Assistant Commissioner of Police, Paul Slow. He is put him as having links in the Middle East. That's what he says. The US said they're waiting on they're going to follow the leader, not the US, the Finance Ministry. I think the Finance Ministry and GRA, asked for some more information. I know if it's Russian leader, won't follow. You better stay in your lane. Here's what some of what Paul Slow said recently on this issue.
Retired Assistant Commissioner Paul Slow has said that the sanctions against the Mohammeds are more far-reaching than some would expect.
All the businesses have to close. I understand that a lot of the workers have already been sent home. Terminated. And the impact is severe. All your money you get in the bank have to stay right there. I know that we talk about the city mall, but they are luxury apartments in the area by the stadium. My understanding is that they are rented to US persons for $500,000 Guyana a month, 2,500 US a month. All of those contracts have to be terminated. If they're not terminated, they have to be terminated within 30 days.
In real terms, it's difficult to visualize a bank denying a person access to his own money. Perhaps the bank may wish to return all the money to the sanctioned persons, an improbable task.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the tip. It is generally felt that the Mohammeds were not the biggest gold smugglers. The USA, they smuggle 50 million, well, not smuggle, they avoided tax to the tune of 50 million US dollars over a 4-year period of time. That's what I said. And if they are not the biggest, one can then imagine what type of smuggling or what type of tax evasion the others have done.
The records by the Bureau of Statistics show that the volume of revenue lost to the government was some 116 million US dollars. Lowe said that in his view, the Americans have started at the bottom. Another retired Assistant Police Commissioner, Clinton Conway, contended that the sanctions will affect ordinary Guyanese. He queried whether the sanctions aren't related to what's happening in the Middle East.
Does this thing, I'm wondering, does this thing have part of what's going on in the Middle East? The Israelis slaughtering the Palestinians, people saying the genocide in the Middle East. And here we had and Israel is very close to America. They're hand in glove. And we had demonstrations in Georgetown against the actions of the Israelis. The Mohammeds were very prominent there.
You recall the Attorney General creating the impression that the sanctions wouldn't be far-reaching.
He went to Trinidad with a large posse. We call it CFAT-F. That's the Caribbean body that deals with anti-money laundering and financing of terrorism. And here, I don't know if you realize what he said. He said they spent 2 days, 2 days face to face. So if you're going to find 2 days face to face, it means they have to have some serious allegations. And they got to be numerous allegations.
Yeah, lots of thinking on this matter of these sanctions from the United States Department of Treasury Department, and they done a week ago, 2 weeks ago. My Lord, when the Americans now knock the wind out your sails, get a little oxygen. Americans get them up, or cut there, block them out. You're gonna revive them now with little oxygen. You tell us the Americans have made a donation of an oxygen generator. Yeah. Some of them on oxygen right now. Too much for them. Can't catch yourself till now with these sanctions. Too much. All right. This was done by Ambassador Nicole Terrio, U.S. Ambassador, and received by Minister of Health, Frank Anthony. And the oxygen generator was donated to the government of Guyana on the whole, right? But it is being accommodated in Region 9. Yeah. When Americans done with them, they got get oxygen. And this oxygen generator is valued at $165,000 US dollars. And it's going to be able to help Lechem, Madhya, Mabaruma Hospital as well. So kudos to Uncle Sam. You know, it's interesting. You got all this money from oil. We can buy an oxygen generator for people that we care about. We couldn't buy oxygen generator. All this money and people still gotta help we. Might be bad management. It just might be bad stewardship. But that being said, I want to say thanks to the United States government. Look, story here now. Things tight. Man say, I ain't getting work. That's why I snatch the gold chain. Well, if you can't do the tight, don't do the crime. It's hand in glove. One is necessary to the other. You commit a crime, you end up in jail. Have an infraction against the law, end up in jail. Coral Providence want to know with the teeth and the white cup with the blue rim. Coral Providence want to know with the teeth and the white cup with the blue rim. Tell you, you never see a show like this. In this way, in this fashion, twice. in one lifetime. Coral Providence, one with the teeth and the cup with the blue rim. People from Atlanta asking, big auntie from Atlanta asking. My Jesus. God help me. Help me. Imagine if I didn't have Jesus. Could you picture that? Imagine. I ain't getting work. I think you get no work in the night. You might get work done. You might get no work in the night. That's what this gold thief, gold chain thief told the courts. People get rough in this country. There's no excuse for what Patrick Goodluck did. Snatching somebody's gold chain. 15 months imprisonment. 15 months imprisonment. The chain was worth, gold chain was worth $200,000. That's not a kind of chain, but that's the last side there, folks. You know? But I say, jail these people, man. Shucks. You know, Savitri, Lal Ram feeling about that now? You're traumatized by that. Have you ever been affected by violence like that? You know, violence and somebody snatch it. That happened to me years ago. I was on the PV too. Right? This is a snatch chain government. So our thoughts and prayers with Savitri, like Ram. You know, Goodluck said he was unemployed and didn't think about it. I looked for work several places. I ain't getting any work. I wasn't thinking. So I just did it. Right? Something whispered in the ears. Tackle Savitri. Traumatize this girl now. Well, go and do your time, man. I can tell you. Go and do your time. You got a lot of time to think now. Bodies turning up in this country, floating left, right, and center. Decomposed body recently discovered in Linden, in a swamp in the vicinity of Blacker Creek and Blue Lake. In the vicinity of Blacker Creek and Blue Lake. And this was confirmed by investigators. Right? Body discovered by persons fishing in the area. Decomposed body. Who is this now? The person remains unidentified. Yeah. That's the kind of country we live in. Every day, accidents on the road, a house burned down, a body turns up floating someplace. That's why I said, we're knocking the Trinidadians. I wanted the one with the blue rim. Thanks, Alec. Drink this little black tea here now. Thoughts and prayers with this family. Whenever this person is identified. Was there a missing persons report out? You know? The things that should get Barrett attention ain't got it. Right? The things that should got the attention, like the due diligence with this company that's taking over the oil and gas project. I see he was involved in a youth empowerment program launch in Letem. And this is true man on a mission. Link of visibilities now that the Mohammeds get sanctioned. And get more visibility now. What happened to the youth, the Presidential Youth Advisory Council? Open to big fanfare at the Orchard Conference Center. Whatever happened to them? How much millions budgeted for? Whatever happened to them? All of those bright-eyed, optimistic, idealistic young people. It's always disappointed with young. And then when they're not interested in politics, we cry foul. When they're not interested, we cry foul. But look how we treat them. And just like the Presidential Youth Advisory Council, this gun dead and natural dead. This will die a natural death. You hearing? You understanding? Natural death. That's what's going to happen here. And we disappoint more young people. That's what we're good at, you know. Starting things. Right? But when it comes to maintenance, upkeep, there's that word we use now, sustainability. Look at that Roland Washington, Linden. You think somewhere you got a department in this country that goes and checks on roads and bridges, especially in the rainy season. Right? You're testing your soil, testing. You're looking for weaknesses and so on. There's a backwardness in us. July, August, we ain't doing nothing. You see, September, then they want to go and weed school. They want to go and paint. They want to go and fix roof. It's a backwardness in we. Now we got to stop. The things that concern he. In concerning he, lots of questions being asked with this company, Fulcrum. Ministry put out a statement that for Exxon, this oil and gas thing is not a priority in their work program. It's not priority. So they now advertise, according to them, and one of the best companies is this Fulcrum LNG. But questions are being raised by Fulcrum. I almost said to you that Vikram couldn't even have a press conference and answer two questions. They just fling out a statement here. Take down. You have a whole country and ministers don't give press conference on the nothing behind on the subject ministry. You get a press statement here, a comment there, but no press conferences in the ministry. And Vikram is one of them. Or maybe too busy. You know, Vikram got a busy eye. He a little busy. Too busy. Right? Too busy. We should have had this in the beginning when we dealt with international issues. But it was a failed coup in Bolivia. We should have had this when we dealt with Honduras. You know, you can't find good help these days. You know that? I like these things in order. They try in Bolivia. The soldiers fed up. Fed up a nonsense government. Fed up a rhetoric. Right? But they didn't plan well. I don't believe in that either. I think the best way to go in democratic countries, you go to the ballot. If you're a general or what have you, and you think you got something better to offer, come out from where you're there, join a political party, start a political party, and do it like that. Like how Commissioner of Police in Trinidad did it, Gary Griffith. He fed up a Kamala, fed up a Rowley, fed up all them. And after he was no longer Commissioner of Police, he started his own political party. Right? You're not making too much sense right now, but who knows? There's not a coincidence, not the way to do it. I can see them folks right now, the broadcasting entity in Guyana, taking notes. Say, we got to hear now. Sedition. What's the other one they say? Treason. You can say, overthrow the PPP. No. We don't believe in that. We don't subscribe to that. We subscribe to democratic tenets. I like fight people fear. But unfortunately, A lot of people politicsing up principles. Right? They would tinker with systems. They ain't concerned, I know. Break any rules to suit itself. I want to beat these banners through the poll, through the ballot box. Let me throw the ideas out there and let the strongest ideas persevere. Right? So I'm just reporting here what transpired in Bolivia overnight. Fire upon those who want to insurrect and coup-surrect. Fire upon them. Beat them through the ballot, and we can beat them badly. We can beat them badly. Remember you talking about flooding us down? They should have been closer there too. You can't go to help these days, you know. It's a long-term it's a long-term we advertise for personnel. Because I see St. Cuthbert road wash away, Linden a big flood, but Region 6 getting 500 hampers. I'm not saying Region 6 had a flood. I'm just saying probably see a lot of it. But I wanted to see this in Linden as well. The speed, the agility of the authorities. That's what I wanted to see. I think Linden's still holding out. I think Linden's still waiting. 500 cleaning hampers. Kudos to Region 6. I like people get what the government get. I don't want Region 6 things for Linden. We got enough. We got big pie in this country. And everybody could get a bite of it. Everybody could get a bite out of it. You know, we've been talking recently about the murder of Anuradha Kantun, stabbed in the neck by her paramour, her reputed husband. Because she said, oh, Bayo, stop this drinking now. If you love me, Bayo, me and the children, oh. Story says he came home inebriated. He come home drunk. Some of you must wonder how I can go from he came home inebriated, he come home drunk. The same. I used to teach English language, you know. I got a fancy for it. I understand the rules, the rudiments, the anatomy of the English language. And so now to break it. Break the rules of the English language. He stabbed Anuradha in the neck. Beautiful young lady. Mother milk still in her face. She started living life. And I dare say, that wasn't the first assault. That wasn't the first assault. And sometimes when I think about men like this, these jerks, I wonder about their own orientation to life, their socialization. Man, no wake up one day and stab a woman in her neck like that. What is that socialization? Came home inebriated. I can see some of y'all say he drunk. He didn't know. I remember when I did law. Was it Kingston was the case? The students at law who with us. That just came back to me and said, no, shh. I could see my criminal law lecturer saying, at least you get one question right. Kingston, isn't it that case? It's just a drunken intent is still intent. You know, to get a murder charge, you got to show the person had intended to kill. And he knew his actions had the capacity to lead to that. Right? You call it the mens rea, you form that thought, your intention, you formed it in your head. And you knew that your actions could have led to that. Manslaughter now is you didn't know, accidental or incidental to your actions. Death occurred. You see, oh jeez, I feel like a teacher now. I feel like a teacher now. Right? You had the mens rea and then you got this. You see that? I'm giving you a free class today. But I remember from, I think it's Kingston versus Kingston. That's the case. The judge says a drunken intent is still intent. It's still intended. You got something you call Dutch courage, you know. Right? People in the natural state can't tell you what they want to tell you. Marcia and Coral Providence. Right? Mr. French. Coral says, you're a very bright man, you know. It's a little 100 watt. You got some LCDs now, you know. Way up there. We got what's called Dutch courage. You know, in the normal state, Marcy, Coral, French, Siobhan, Pretty Melissa, Waveney, Dan Gravesani. Some people can't tell you what they really want to tell you. So they're going to drink up. So I got a lot of my mind with you here, Naomi. I got a lot of my mind. And they tell you the whole story. How your mother met you, the day, the hour. They tell you about your whole parentage. They tell you about your mother, your father, your great-grandparents. They tell you about your whole lineage. Right? And then in the morning, I had a drunk man. Don't no bad feelings. Don't take it personal. I had a drunk. Dutch courage. Dutch courage. Yeah. Dutch courage. Orwin Don says, I'm brighter than an energy saver. Yeah. He drink and then he stabbed the girl in the neck. She said, oh, boy, oh. Beautiful young lady, a vendor, going out there working hard for your family. Anuradha Canton. Thoughts and prayers with her family. Thoughts and prayers with her family. You know, he was charged. Same day they put her down in the ground. Same day they interred her. Not a sad story here. Not a family. You know, a colleague of mine called me last year. I'm calling him Basdio from Region 6. Derek Basdio. Derek, you on this morning? And he was telling me, we spoke about this story before here. Remember, there's a family there who had 2 kids died in succession. The son died, then the daughter died. I think 12 and 10 years old. Same week, like days apart. So they ain't getting no death certificate. They're fighting for that. They went out in the rain the other day and protested in front of New Amsterdam Hospital. Next week I can talk to them. Next week I can take some time and go and talk to them. Can't get a death certificate. Right. Basio reached out to me. He said, I want you to come and talk to them. See if you can get some help for them. I'm going to talk to them next week. And all this politics things out the way. Can't we get a death certificate of the child? Now they're telling us in Bartica, child lost his life. It's a dengue pneumonia. You know? Kushal Dubey. Young man. You know, I'm thinking about this story and I'm feeling water welling up there. These stories break me, kids, because I got kids too. These stories tear me up. Right? Until my eyes are streaming, according to the poet Martin Carter. He said he took in dengue pneumonia, died at the Bartica Hospital, Region 7. Became ill with symptoms including fever, vomiting, and diarrhea. He was transferred from Bartica to Georgetown Hospital, rather. And despite intensive care, Kushal passed away on Monday. Said he was a talented musician and a student of St. Anthony's Primary School. So young. You know? So young. We've had now thousands of positive cases of dengue. hundreds of hospitalizations, you know, and reported that there have been numerous calls, listen to this, numerous calls for increased fogging for mosquitoes. I remember as a child, you know, smelling this thing in the area, and I used to ask the elders, what was that? They would say malaton or malator. And you would see some tractor-looking thing pulling a piece of equipment down the road. What looked like smoke coming out. You don't see that now. It's fogging. Was that substance called malaton? I think it's poisonous to humans and clearly mosquitoes. Malaton. Andrew Gibbons says too many unsolved murders in Guyana. You don't see them things now. I don't know if it happens now. I remember in our back door when we used to live in South. On the back door had a card from the health authorities. And every time they visit and spray it and do something, you'd see a date mark there. I remember as a child looking up at that on the back door and reading it. Ministry of Health something. This was not the PPP. And every time the health inspector, whoever they were, the Malaton people passed through. Right? Those were the days when the doors was in two halves. You could keep the bottom closed and you swing open the top. And they write something there. Visited. Something, sprayed, inspected. What have you? I remember looking up at that as a child. You know, little short, stumpy me. Big head, bow foot. Looking like E.T. watching up at this thing. So, you realize not much has changed, huh? Looking up at this thing on the back door. All my adult life, nobody never knocked on my door and asked me if the place spray. I can't tell when last I see a little Malaton tractor passing through the neighborhood. It had a horrible smell, but you got a good night's sleep. Mosquitoes and body. Don't buy your citronella spray now. See if mosquito don't take you over. In this story, they're telling us 18,581 dengue tests conducted, 4,703 positive, 398 hospitalization. And still the call is to increase fogging. Can you all fathom that? My God. My God. Pamela said, I remember. JC said, I remember too. Coral Providence wants to know if we got a health minister. I ask the same question every day. Chinsing Henry says with the flooding, you'll have more instances of that. Right? Who is the health minister really? That's the question I keep asking too. Right? Ayabo says it's like I could smell it when you talk. That's how the memory comes back to me. What do they call it? Your olfactory senses. You know? You ever smell a scent that took you back years? I talk and I smell it myself, Ayabo. I even hearing the tractor ambling through Buttercup Street, South Ramville, where I grew up, 3298. I can even hear the tractor coming through. Then the fog fills the house. Right? You know if it can kill you, at least the mosquito dead. Calls for increased fogging. High income country, biggest GDP, fastest growing economy. And we in fogging. Right? Other countries solved the dengue problem years ago. We still struggling with dengue. Imagine that. You know the campaign for the parties are heating up. We're going to the floor. We're going to the floor of the conference for the Alliance for Change. We can fight it out there. You know. We wanted peace in the party. I try to reach out to folks to see if we can forge a way forward. Right? They want to carry some old gone through people in the process, and we say no. We can't find agreement. We say, let me fight it on the floor. Right? I love the way the Trinidadians talk too. First time I hear Trini say, he gone through. I said, what do you mean he go through a window? You all and gone through. Let me go on the floor. Folks, let me tell you this. If I become the Alliance for Change leader, it will be the honor of a lifetime to serve. Right? But I have learned to treat success and defeat the same way. I can still out here warring. Long before I was GS, General Secretary for the Alliance for Change, I out here warring. It didn't make I come out here and war. I was out here warring before, and I can out here warring after. As long as you stand up beside me, Magnell and Siobhan and Chinsing and Ingrid and Marlon and Beverly, as long as y'all stand up out here besides me, we can out here warring. General Secretary of no General Secretary, leader, no leader. That don't define who I am. You see, I believe I have something I can bring to that office there. But however it goes, folks, the sun will rise on Sunday. The sun will rise on Monday. And I can still out here worrying. I wish I had seen some of the people who now running out and say, elect me. I wish I had seen them out here with us. When we went Hillfoot and Success and Amelia's Ward, fighting for those quarters, when we went Cedar, when we went Washington Housing Scheme, when we went Mbatiro, when we went Citrus Grove, Mbatiro Region 1, Citrus Grove Region 1 as well. In Mbatiro, you got to go through Mabaruma, you got to go through Port Kaituma for the other one. When we went Kalkuni, Wiki Kalkuni, when we went Hururu, I wish I'd seen some of them. As I said, I'm going up to Babis next week to talk to this family, to look at flooding there, whether or not I'm leader of the Alliance for Change. Whether or not, when the people call, I'm going to respond to that. I will continue to respond to that. Right. I have learned a long time ago, as I come into what's happening on the campaigns, right, that in my life, I am not running for office to be Sherrod Duncan. I'm already elected. I elect myself, and I elect every day to get up, pretty Militia, and do this work out here. Nobody did elect me for do these shows. Fighting the PPP every day. And it's only because we don't got time in between. We stopped doing the podcast, but I want to bring it back. Nobody did elect me there. Nobody's run for do this work. People run for get a piece of the pie. Nobody did elect me to walk this country, listen to our people, come back to you and say, look what the people doing to our people. Nobody don't run for them offices. But I see flashing lights and the cocktail circuits. People want to be there, and so they run out now. I see some people went to Essequibo for the first time in 2 years the other day. I went to Essequibo probably more than 15 times in the last 2 years. I was there with the people at Kupui. When they said it to show and listening to them, the government didn't care, but transparency and accountability. I was there with the people when the market burned down. Charity, and for a whole host of other social reasons, as well as trying to build my political party in the ground there too. I didn't see a lot of people. But now a lot of people run out saying, vote for me, vote for me. And I'm already persuaded. I'm not running for Bishar Duncan. I am already elected. Nobody can take these programs from me. We did that together, morning, noon, and night, bringing the fight to the PPP. How many protests have we been in the last 4 years? I've never seen some of them in one protest. Never seen some of them in one protest. Never see them in a protest for the teachers. Never see them in a protest for house registration in front of GCOM every single Tuesday. Never see them defend the nurses out there on the front line. And we have had so many protests in the last 2 years alone. And in the last 4 years. Didn't see any of them there. Right? This is fair weather leaders we got. Them is not hot sun leaders. Them is leaders who want to fight in the shade. I watch some of them and smile. Because I'll tell you this. If I really talk my mind. If I really talk my mind. If I really talk my mind. I see one man who left the party since 2019. Never looked back. Never give it a cent. He said, I endorse. Folks, if I really talk, what's on my mind? He comes, I endorse somebody that went on a sabbatical too. If I really talk my mind. But folks, Sharon, I want to build this party that belongs to we. If I really talk my mind, how are you going to build a party like that? How are you going to build a party like that? Every 2 mornings, somebody take a 4 years off. You take a 3 months. You take a 5 days. And people who out here, every single day, have to take a back seat. Huh? Jesus is the only Messiah I believe in. Jesus is the only Messiah to save us that I believe in. Let me go to the floor. Let me go to the floor. Let me go to the floor. Let me go to the floor and let the chips fall where they may. Things happening in the campaign, folks. Here we go. Here we go. PNCR said it's set to vote on a motion seeking Norton's election as presidential candidate, or I saw another version that says seeking to have the leader that emerges, the leader of the party, whoever emerges as leader of the party at the end of this Congress, to be the presidential candidate. Now that's a lot of repercussion. We got to spend a whole show just talking about that. That has a lot of repercussions by itself there. That got a lot of repercussions there. It got a lot of repercussions there. Right? But this is a motion that a lot of folks that I've spoken with in the People's National Congress Reform says it's coming. Motion is going to come to the floor that their leader, whoever that person is, man or woman, be their presidential candidate. So that's one of the headlines we're seeing right there. And then yesterday, I was in a meeting when my attention was drawn to the fact that a high court case had filed to block the PNCR's Congress. Right? Tessalani, it's been said that caused a lot of problems in her house. Sorry. High court case. I didn't file the case. Filed to block the PNCR's Congress. Folks, one thing you can say, that this was a boring Congress type. That's one thing you can say. It was a boring Congress type. No, every day you're well entertained. Right? Every day. I saw somebody did a mime. It says repurpose and flip. And then they got the AFC office. For sale, $4,800. Contact. Folks, I was in a meeting too when I saw that. And I spent a half hour laughing. I spent about half hour laughing. Repurpose and flip. I've learned not to take life too seriously. And these things, there's a picture of the Alliance for Change building. Repurpose and flip. For sale, $4,800. I found that immensely funny. But that's quotes you here. Serious business. But some attorneys saying that this ain't going no place. Some attorneys say this is not going any place. I saw a letter out of what's his name from the UK. Harsh critic of some of the leadership in the PNCR. Currently, what's his name? If you all know the people's story, you're gonna know his name. Very harsh critic. I think he comes out of the UK. Right? Let me see if you know your politics here. You always got a letter in the press, but he says, because this was a shocker to me. This was a shocker to me. Cold Providence is the next one. Norman Brown is a little shocker to me because I see Norman Brown kind of coming back a little bit here. Right? And he says now that if Congress continues for the current leadership position, that we all must respect and support whoever emerges as leader. Right? And I think he's been a very harsh critic of some of the leaders currently. He said if the Congress goes far, he believes it should be postponed a little bit. I think he said until August. But Norman Brown also makes the point that he said he's going to personally support, right, whoever emerges as leader. He said he assures, he asking participants to honor the outcome and to work together to remove the regime afterwards, the PPP regime. And this is important. They are the real enemy here. We might disagree with each other and we can. Right? But the PPP, they are the real enemies here. And now, right? And he says that he will be supporting wholeheartedly whoever emerges as leader of the People's National Congress reform. And this is what Norman Brown said. I was a little shocked because, you know, Norman is always battling forward. Right? He says on the eve of the conference, if it goes forward, he's going to support wholeheartedly whoever emerges as the leader of the PNCR. And then there's a letter in the morning papers that one of my favorite people, Guyana, should do the honorable thing and resign from the PPC. Now, I think this is a little unfair. I can fight for my girl Guyana a little bit here. Let me sip my tea first. I'm going to fight a little for my girl Guyana here. Right? And I'm using the word my girl Guyana very loosely. Very loosely. I can fight a little bit for my girl Guyana here. Right? Beat up aside and bust mouth aside and all that. I can fight a little bit for my girl Guyana here. Because the PPP should be the last to talk about who should resign from the PPC. Right? Part of what they said in this letter, and I think in the morning papers, is that Diana was spotted with people who are currently campaigning for the Alliance for Change leadership. She was spotted there, and the fact that people who sit on the Public Procurement Commission, as Diana sits, right, they should be neutral, and that they spot her in locations with the folks who are contending for the AFC leadership as well, spotted her campaigning with them. And so somebody is asking for Diana to resign from the Public Procurement Commission. One Brian Azor resign. Now, if the PPP don't feel, and this person is PPP, if the PPP don't feel like May Thomas, who visa was revoked, shouldn't sit, for instance, in their who is a PS and should be independent of politics, neutral of politics, right? She's a party member elected to the central exec in the PPP. If they don't see nothing wrong with that, I don't know why a PPP person should tell me Guyana shouldn't sit in the PPP on the Public Procurement Commission, right? You got a PPP hardliners like Bagwandin right in there, but they ain't seen that, right? They ain't seen that, and I did think Big Head Jack, you did come out and say that permanent secretaries can be part of political parties. Now, if a permanent secretary can be part of a political party, you know, imagine a commissioner who sits on a commission. So you see, these things got repercussions. They want it one way when it suits them, right? But when it comes another way, they don't like it. They don't like it. So as far as like, don't mix up with politics, you know. They are not going nowhere. Resign. The whole PP government should resign, right? And that brings me to something. Right? The whole issue of sanctions. When I was going through that early on, I remember when this government, same PPP government, so if Granger don't hand over, if Granger don't step down, sanctions, when digging hole for people must dig two. When you're digging hole for people must dig two. Oh, if sanctions gonna come in the country, Granger step down and we still getting sanctions. Granger step down and still we getting sanctions. And more sanctions and rumors of sanctions. We getting more sanctions now. We had one sanction during the entire David Granger-led administration, or a hint, not even a hint of a sanction. But soon as these jagabats come in, you hear what happening here? Soon as these jagabats come in, it's problems. Soon as they come in. So that being said, good folks, that being said, sometimes you gotta encourage this thing. That being said, that ain't going nowhere. Don't come wrong with funny. Don't come wrong with funny like that. But before we wrap up this morning, look what's happening in the PNCR is saying about their Congress. They had a press conference yesterday. I think Adam Harris put together a report for us. Take a look. Take a listen.
Sherwin Benjamin, the chairman of the Congress Committee, the People's National Congress Reform, said today that the 22nd Biennial Congress of the PNCR would attract some 2,000 delegates. The Congress would be held from June 28th to June 30th.
We are fielding delegates, about 2,000 delegates for this Congress. Our preparations are almost complete. For example, in terms of physical space, we are about 80% completed with that aspect. Our questions and motions were submitted to the person responsible for that, Senior Counsel Basil Williams, and he has indicated that he's dispatched those to the printers.
He said that the delegates should begin arriving by today.
There are several nominations for the various positions being contested. Leader, 7 persons were nominated. Chairman, 10 persons. Vice chairman, 14 persons. For treasurer, 6 persons. And for the position of central executive, 119 persons were nominated.
4 days before the Congress, the General Secretary resigned. Benjamin said that this wouldn't have an adverse effect on Congress.
In respect of a report from the General Secretary, I think the Secretariat will have to provide a report on Saturday. Who does that? It's beyond me to say, but somebody from the Secretariat will provide a report on what transpired from the period 2021 December to current.
There was a suggestion that the CPU was removed and led to the tampering of the members' register. Benjamin said that nothing could be further from the truth.
In respect of the CPU being removed from its original place, I don't see that as being removed from Congress Place. It remained in the hallowed walls of Congress Place. The General Secretary in her report to the Central Executive indicated that the CPU moved from a office to the next office. The person who moved the CPU was not at work. The item was restored. The integrity of the information remained.
Sharon.
Yep. There we have it, folks. Welcome back. Sorry about that. There we have it. There we have it. The Congress is going to be on Friday to Sunday. This is the People's National Congress Reform there in Sophia, and then the Alliance for Change Congress is on Saturday, folks. Revealed World Christian Center there in Pier and William Street, in William Street particularly, but from Pier into William. Revealed World Christian Center. Yeah. We need some guidance from upstairs too. Folks, that being said, thanks for joining our broadcast this morning. It's been a privilege being here with you, Marlene Thomas and Sandra Naomi, Coral Providence, Siobhan and Pretty Milicia, Glenford Gordon, Candy Neline, good to see you, and all the other folks who are joining us. Melanie Adams, good to see you there too, and Glenford. Marlene Thomas, have a great day, folks. That's our time, and that's our broadcast. Valerie, good to see you. Tessa, good to see you. Tessa Lane Eastman. Naomi Drucker. Yeah, Naomi counted. You see that? Naomi counted how many things we had this morning. She said 20. You see that? So we make up for the mornings when we half short or quarter short or so on. Jacqueline Johnson. Rose Cook. Hilali Cook. Good to have you there. Valerie and all the other folks joining us today. Have a fantastic rest of the day. We're going to see you guys right back here on the next broadcast. Take care.